So we're talking about the cessation, the ending, the ceasing to speak the divine name. And I just want to share a quote from the Jewish Encyclopedia, 1901, volume 11, page 353. And it reads, "It is recorded that the pronunciation of the name Yahweh began to be suppressed in earnest upon the death of a man named Simeon the Just, a high priest who served in the office in the time span of 310 to 199 BCE, or about 200 years before the nation of Israel came under the rulership of the Roman Empire." And so that is about the cessation of the speaking of the name, and the prohibition began to be made in earnest. And so there's other quotes that we could look at in different places in the various Talmuds that speak about them no longer speaking the name, confirming that fact on the strict prohibition. And that is in the intertestamental period. We just looked in the Old Testament at the last book about 200 years before, and they were speaking the name. They weren't living the life that God wanted them to live as his people, but they were speaking the name. There was no prohibition on speaking it. All the way back to Ruth chapter 2, verse 4, where the common greeting coming from the field was, "The blessings of Yahweh be upon you, be upon you." And so there was no cessation. There was nothing during the time period when there was inspired prophetic word taking place among the people. The name was not prohibited. During the 400 years of silence, that's when it was prohibited. And so I do not believe it was a God thing. I believe God allowed it. And so then when people say, why is the name not written in the New Testament? Well, because this prohibition began to be in force at a high level over the next couple of hundred years by the time Jesus walked the earth. And so we'll look next into the New Testament.